cannot handle real work, reality talk, 80+ language, simply skip the video.
So look at the size of these Easter eggs, you know. You don't want to mess around with this bunny who brought this over here. Anyway, let's dive into vlog number 60. And today it's already 60 days in a row, every day shooting, uploading, showing where I'm going. Not everywhere, I'm very honest about this. I cannot film everywhere and everybody, but I want to show you a thing about freedom, because I can go wherever I want to go, and in the meantime, while I'm traveling in the trams, buses or subways, I work on my phone. Well, though, you don't do anything else than work. Yeah, also train, work out. So day number 60, and I had something. Oh yeah, because my vlogging journey is pretty, I'm very transparent about this thing. I'm still trying to find the right format that gets more views, because that's in the end also the goal, to reach. Just a sec. Damn it, so many fucking trams. When you need a tram, no, they're actually everywhere. But now we don't need one, and it makes so many noise. Okay, on the way. The thing is, where was I? I'm now totally out of my thing. Where was I? About the vlogging thing, working out. Oh yeah, and like I said, I'm very transparent about that. I'm doing this every single day, optimizing my speaking, the content, and maybe the environment, and the whole combination needs to be better. And the message that I want to bring. So my message is pretty clear, I think, at the moment. If you watch my vlogs for the first time, my name is Dotcombaron, aka dotcombaron. I'm 46 years young, and I'm obsessed with growth. Anything that grows, I'm obsessed with it. Let me give you a little bit of wide spectrum of my interests, which is buildings that are constantly building in the cities, to personal growth, physical growth, growth of relationships, growth of plants. And I got a whole story about that. In the past I had the grow shops, so I was in the indoor growing. I sold everything to grow marijuana. Very honest about this. Nothing illegal at those days. Long time ago. Interesting time, very interesting time. But so I'm interested in a lot of growth. Did I already mention that I like to bring constantly value to any kind of meeting that I'm going? A little bit entertainment, make each other a little bit laugh, talk a little bit serious, everything a little bit, so that every time when somebody walks away, they walk away with a good feeling, not with a bad feeling. Sometimes with a bad feeling, because I don't mess around when it's about reality. Everybody knows this. And I'm trying to do it always in the most respectful way, but I always, and that's another thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing, sometimes it's a good thing. I think, I see people in a whole different way. So, for example, when I see potential in a person, I already talk to that future person. And a lot of young guys that I talk with, they simply don't know what they already have and what they could do, and what they're actually capable of. And I try to pull this out by simply speaking to them in the closest way, the closest to the reality, So I don't bullshit when they ask me something about, what do you think about this? I don't hold back, because, and that's another thing, these days people like to be liked, to be loved, to feel comfortable, perhaps making other people make them feel comfortable. And I think that somehow people should sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable around you, but when they ask about real stuff, you know, what do you think about this? How this is going? How does this look like? And then some people might say, because it's my friend for a long time, it's because this and this, my son, my daughter, or whatever, and to make them feel comfortable, and you don't tell them the reality. Well, actually, you hurt them more in the long run, and I don't think that's a good thing. So, vlog number 60, we're getting now to some other format, because I noticed the training videos, you know, they are actually getting way much more views, and the first full routine, and the link is in the description, because that's what I'm gonna share now, my routines. And I'm also not claiming to be a personal trainer and or nutritionist and or I don't know what. The thing is, for me, the reason that I'm training the way I do is to keep my brain fast, and fast. And the rest is collateral damage. Next to that, I just drink beer, I eat what I want. Of course, I'm not eating everyday pizzas and burgers, but I do live a life. And for me, the most important thing is the brain. Second is the way I present myself. My physique is, I think, for a 46-year-old fucking fat, pretty aesthetic physique, which I want to keep everything in balance. You know, I'm 1m74. I'm not the tallest guy, so I'm not, you know, want to bulk up in the gym. Also makes you slow. I want to be fast. I want to, you know, run 10 kilometers, and after that I still do, I don't know what, a 1 hour calisthenics cycle, the whole routine, you know. And if you put it in another way, you know, for example, and this is also, but I don't have children, for the parents, you know, who already huffing, because yesterday I saw it, one guy had to run with his son, he was huffing and puffing while he was maybe running for 25 meters to get in the tram. Well, you know what? What if your son in a burning building, you need to run 5 stairs up? Is your body simply giving up because you're too lazy to actually work on yourself so you can actually be some sort of protector? Is that gonna happen ever? That's not the thing. If you already huff and puff running 25 meters, I think you also shorten your own lifespan, which is pretty selfish. Hey, when you have children, you should actually try to live as long as possible for them. That's what I would do, but again, I don't have children, so shut up, Donna. What else? So when it's about my vlog format, we're going more to the calisthenics things, maybe combine speaking with the calisthenics exercises, because yeah, the most messy video, I just slapped different kind of clips together. They are actually one video, but I slapped them very ugly together just with a voiceover, and that video has more views than the rest of the videos where I speak actually value that can increase people their lives if they would really listen to it. And along the way, by the way, if you didn't subscribe yet, you know what? Help me out over here, I need subscribers. Ah man, on more noise. People are now cutting the hedges. When I say the word hedges, I think all of a sudden hedgehog. Wait a minute, I never actually thought about this. Hedgehog. They cutting the hedges. So a hawk, hedgehog, okay. Totally irrelevant, Alan. Stay focused. Yeah, that's also another thing. I should stay a little bit more on topic and build a little bit more context. I understand, admit it, here live to all the millions of viewers that will come somehow. But no matter what, you know, and the videos do get more views along the way. And that's the thing about building digital assets, right? So I'm building digital assets, you know, YouTube channels, Instagram, Facebook things, groups. It's it just stays over there. Okay, unless you get cancelled, banned by getting offensive or starts doing hate speech. I'm not into this. I'm especially not into hate stuff. Hating, I don't think there's anything coming good from hating. There's also not a real purpose about it, and I also don't believe that there is a real genuine hardcore reason for it, unless you got raped over and over and by a specific kind of group of people, blah blah blah. I understand that, but and let's talk about the normal people who hate other people. Yeah, I don't believe that there's a real end goal, but also there's no real reason for it. People who are patriots, that is a whole different game, because and there is a reason, and keep the country clean, blah blah blah, prosperity. You don't break down the people around you, you just try to, let's say, protect your, I don't know what, your civilization, how can you say, population, your country. I understand this, but real hate, okay, get off the hate topic. Yeah, where are we going? Oh, that is a nice thing. I yesterday was sitting in the tram, and while I was sitting in the tram, the thing is, all of a sudden I saw a glimpse of a calisthenics spot that is not yet on my Google Maps thing, and I'm not going to train over there because it looked like a very busy calisthenics spot. But the thing is, I want to put it on my Google Maps account. So when you go to Sofia, Bulgaria, just follow me and you can visit all those places. And I think at the moment I got over, I don't know, maybe 27 mapped out. Here in my mind I know more probably, because when I say the number, there are way much more than that. But yeah, now when I think about, I also know another thing that I want to do. Another thing that I want to do is make more pictures and videos of businesses. But I have to make a little bit of choice which kind of business category I want to do first. Because every time when I do this, those businesses get a lot of views. Do I need anything from it? No. What is the main reason? Well, for me, let's say other people get helped along the way. They probably don't even know it that I'm doing it. But for me, I get more views on my Google Maps. So the only thing that I would like to say, at one point, you know, I got over 5 million views. And that's not only the thing. Sometimes when I meet new people in the Airbnb, like yesterday, I just drop it, you know, I got over 3 million views over there. You know, gives a little bit of extra on top of top. So I'm stacking trust, you know. I'm saying, yeah, I already spent more than 6 years or 7 years in Bulgaria before. Now I'm back for more than 3 years again. I'm walking every day around. You can look at my vlogs. Again, I can use my vlogs as a trust builder. And not only that, again, when people thinking or considering to work with me, or, you know, anyway, in any kind of, you know, also when it's about women, you know, they can just figure out my my real character, the way I speak, the way I move, the way I look like actually. There's nothing to hide. And again, stacking. There is nothing in life comes from one single action. You know, I have to do this until, you know, I got 1,000 vlogs. You know, but to be very honest, that's 60 days ago. I could not imagine, you know, that I would have 60 days in a row the vlogs. And now I do. Now I'm thinking, what if we reach the 100? What if we reach the 1,000? You know, how would that make me feel? See, and that's what I'm thinking about. I don't think about, I'm already thinking about monetization, making deals. You know, you can make upfront deals. I'm gonna be honest about this. I want to have another vlogging camera because this is a GoPro 4 session. You know, I just bought it and I just fell in love with the size. But that's also something, you know, I never wanted to do this with the phone, like, you know, on a stick, you know, because it looks, in my opinion, pretty intrusive in people there, let's say, call public privacy, you know, because you put cameras and the cameras on the back, it always looks like you put other people also on camera. And like this, the camera is only pointed at me, and that's what I really love about it. And there's one camera that I'm also very interested in, well, which one is it? It's the, oh yeah, Insta360 Go, and it's incredibly tiny, but also you can mount it pretty much on anything, and it has the option to upload very quickly. That is a little bit about this GoPro 4 session, blah blah blah. I'm not talking down on it, I know it's not in production anymore, but I had to start somewhere, and along the way you improve, right? I talked about this before. You cannot wait for the most perfect moment with anything that you do in life or want to do in life. Never wait for the perfect moment, you know. If I would have waited 60 days ago, you know what, I don't speak perfect yet, I don't look at my best today, let's do it tomorrow or whatever, I don't feel good. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Look at the world around us. Huh? You die, and then, well, this world keeps on spinning, the trees keep on growing, and everybody will do to survive and maintain and thrive in life, with or without you. So really think about those things that, you know, when you touch this tree is not gonna think about you, you know, whether you do it or not. And when it's about the calisthenics thing, you know, the steel also really doesn't care. You go to the steel, you do the stuff to get in shape, or you don't. The steel doesn't give a fuck. And for me, that symbolizes the world around us. That you do it or you don't do it. There's nothing in between. Not maybe mañana, tomorrow, fuck off. Maybe tomorrow you're not over here anymore. Maybe you're not gonna wake up. And by the way, when it's about not waking up, a lot of people are already dead and gone, so I'm pretty familiar with that. The thing is, I'm still here, I gotta do it. And you know what, if I would come tomorrow under the bus, let's take those words back. No, I cannot, I already said it. I'm not getting under the bus, so shut up, don't say those things. But there will be a lot of videos still left to watch, so you can binge watch. You know, and sometimes, you know, when people die, and I'm not comparing myself with those legends, but when you die, your stuff becomes more interesting all of a sudden, right? Your paintings and I don't know what, you know, they go up in value the moment you die. And one of those poor people in Holland was Herman Brood, you know, the moment that he jumped off the hotel, his paintings were skyrocketing. Just a quick example, Herman Brood. Herman Brood. I'm very curious how people in the USA would say this. Herman Brood? I don't know. Anyway, also a random thought. Nobody's gonna die. At least not me today. So everything needs to be done now. Just do it. So we're now going to the calisthenics park. Yeah. We've been in this park over there, yes, in that building. We were actually best man on somebody's wedding over there. But anyway, over there is the calisthenics spot. As you can see, it's very busy. So I'm gonna mark it on my Google Maps thing. I'm gonna figure out the name of the park, and then yeah, you know, I'm so many years over here, huh? In Sofia, and still I discover new spots. You know, that is very exciting. Huh? I feel very. Sofia is a Disney World for me. Not that I ever been to Disney World, but I feel like a little child over here in Sofia many times. I don't know if it's a good thing. Some people say, Dallin, why don't you grow up? No, not people don't say that. In the past they did, but it's in Holland. In Holland people like to put people in boxes, you know. You have, you're 40 plus, you have to act like this. You are you do have you know, normal people tattoos, then you this and this, then you're an artist. When you have old school tattoos like me, then you this and this, you labeled as this and this. When you walk around in a suit, you have fluffy hair, dry hair, you are working in the government stuff, I don't know what. You know, that's how it works. That's Holland. But here in Bulgaria, a whole different story. I like this. Anyway, over here is the calisthenics spot. One more. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I will put it on the Google Maps, and one day we go very close. But there are also even children over there. And there is something what I also noticed in the settings. Children, made for children. I don't know. I don't want to deal with children. At least not with children problems. I mean on the camera thing. We understand where this goes, right? I don't want to get involved in weird things. Anyway, we go to another place to make a training video, because maybe people still have a freaking holiday. In one way, because I want my lifestyle for a lot of people, you know, the freedom that it brings to work only from the phone. But in, you know, on these days, I think, yeah, if everybody would work on the phone, you know, all the calisthenics spot would be constantly occupied, and everybody would be ripped, or, you know, in pretty good shape and drink beer. That would be a weird world, you know. And that's again to about a topic, and that's a returning topic, I think, globally, right? If everybody would be the same, that would be weird. There are a lot of weird things. Yesterday I watched a 5-minute thing on a psychopath that starts talking about his actions the first time. Very weird guy. I was always also thinking, you know, if everybody would be the same like that, that would be, yeah, you know, if everybody is a psychopath, everybody would recognize each other. Probably nobody would be killed. Yeah, I don't know if everybody goes totally bananas on each other. You know, what do you think? I don't know. So let's go to the other place, because there are other people coming. More and more people coming. They wake up. Another thing about waking up. This, yeah, and if you're watching, this is nothing personal, but and like always, my vlogs are not for the people who are stepped on their toes when they hear something, you know, some of the habits that you shouldn't do. So, but these people, they came from Italy, and they were a little bit tired. They went, I think, around 11, maybe 10 to bed. Yeah, maybe they did a little bit of hanky-panky, but you know, and with all the judgment, without any judgment, I'm just telling you my perspective on life. You can pretty much see what they're capable of, let's say in the bedroom, right? No matter what you say, if you're in a bad physical shape, which you can see, that's, you know what they're capable of. And I'm getting to a point, because one guy, you know, because when I sit in the park 3 times a week around the Airbnb, once per month I bump into a guy, or maybe 2 times, and then he always needs to say something that makes his own life better. Let's say it like this, because he is a father, child, woman, pretty much done deal. Nothing exciting anymore is gonna happen. And that's not about everybody who has children. No, that's also not the case. But he is one of those guys, and every time I need to listen to how he misses dating life, how he misses this and this. No, you don't miss it. You're simply just a coward who just knocked somebody up, and yeah, that's what it is. And is everybody a coward? No, but he is. You know, with multiple people, they tell me here how much they miss dating life. So really think about what I'm saying over here. How genuine, authentic are they actually to the people, to the person that they, let's say, knocked up? I don't believe that is love. I really don't believe that is love. If you really think about, yeah, tell other people, you know, how much you miss dating, what kind of relationship do you have? You know, what kind of vibrations do you put into your child? You know, Papa is a non-authentic guy, so I'm gonna be one of them too. That's gonna happen. I with all respect to his child, maybe some unfortunate things will happen, and that in one way is fortunately for his character or her character, because hey, I know you're watching this, and most people that I hang around with, they had, they lost at least one parent, at least. I do have always the best contacts with people who at least lost one. I never knew my own. I lost both of my adoption parents long time ago, and I really connect with people. So even if I let me also say this, I didn't even yesterday when I talked with a guy, he also said it, that he lost his father, and somehow that makes sense then for me, because somehow the best contacts that I have, they lost one of the parents, and some I think two. I have to think about which one is that. But the thing is, I do believe, and I'm not saying that it's good and I wish it to nobody, let's say that up front, but it builds your character in a whole different way. Yeah, and I'm saying it, and once more, I'm not wishing that on anybody. No, also not wishing it, let's say, the grief and that kind of stuff, the process, But anyway, it builds character, and somehow I always connect very well with people who went through a lot of bullshit and or lost one of their parents. And it's true, and I'm laughing about it, but yesterday this guy has pretty good characteristics, and I always get a little bit thinking, where is this coming from? But when people have solid characteristics, and if you watch my previous vlogs, I talk a lot about red flags, but also the few things that are very important to determine if somebody would fit, let's say, in the profile of somebody with common sense, respect, some sort of a honorable representation to the world. That you need, for example, respect somebody else's time, keep your words, etc., etc. I mentioned this before, just watch the previous vlogs. If you didn't yet, do it. But, I don't know where I was going with this. Yeah, it built character. Colorful life builds character, and maybe you will have a little bit period of in your life that it sets you a little bit back, but I also do believe it catapults you in a direction, maybe different direction, maybe it speeds up your direction, but you also will connect, let's say with more mature people. I do believe this, more mature people. People who are more resilient, that's for sure. People who still have their both parents, and pretty much their real parents also on top of that, sucked on mama's titty. They very still in this fluffy stage of their life. I don't connect very well with a lot of people who are still in their fluffy period. And it's not only about that their parents still alive, it's just a combination of. Because somehow, if you go, so still, let's say you're 40, you still come at your parents' home. I know even a guy who lives still at his mother. No bad word about him, by the way. But he was also a very normal guy. But, they still have this fluffy thing. I also couldn't say it's kindness, because genuine kindness comes also with an understanding that hell is a pretty real thing for some of people, a lot of people on this planet, and real kindness can only sprout from hell, going through hell, and the more through hell, and you go through it like you laugh at hell, you get stronger, or become one of those sad woolen sweater guys or girls and sit in the corner and cry how bad life is for you. I've met both of them, weak ones, strong ones. I know people who their children got kidnapped, and you know the deal. But some of the women, yeah, they and a couple of husbands, they get killed, and yeah, they just move on. But I also know one, yeah, she was actually pretty destroyed by life, but yeah, very negative about life, very, yeah, incredibly negative, nothing good. So in my opinion, weakness, and yes, perhaps some situation you would never wish on anybody, but yeah, when you react weak, you think that the world is all against you. And I've been there, done that. I also had many periods in my life that I thought, no, the world is against me, I'm all alone in this fucking world. But now I just say I wouldn't like to miss it, because it built me, it builds everything, and I can now use everything for my vlogs. Anyway, let's shut up. And I'm actually thinking, how close am I to the Slavia Stadium? I think pretty close. Today I'm gonna train actually at multiple spots, by the way. We trained so over here now. So I had something in my mind to share, and I think it's gonna help a lot of people, because a lot of things get totally overcomplicated when you look for solutions on YouTube, for example. Of course, when you put in the keywords, perhaps your feed will be optimized along the way, because the algorithm these days, you know, it's incredible, right? It listens just like a human being, probably even better. They're listening to your needs and fill up those needs. But anyway, get to the point, Alan. Faster. I understand. And when it's about, yeah, let's say you're anxious and depressed, a lot of talks like start visiting your own demons and all that kind of stuff. I do believe that it's for most people way too confronting and way too much into depth, on which they can totally not concentrate, especially in the beginning, because people need to have quick wins. People like me, like with the vlogging, doesn't matter, we just do it, keep on doing it until everything burns to hell, or we reach heaven in the most figurative way. What I want to say, so the easiest way to get in a very peaceful state of mind, and you need to do it 7 days in a row, just on random moments on the day, is simply be grateful what you have at the moment. And it can be as simple as be grateful if you walk around, if you can walk around, you know, like I do many times, especially also when I do my longer runs. I'm grateful for my ankles, not painful. I'm grateful for my hands when I do the calisthenics. I'm grateful for my fingers. Also when I'm eating, I'm grateful that I have another meal. You know, I'm grateful that I can sit with other people that actually spend time with me and exchange ideas and possible projects. I'm grateful for a lot of things, and just fill it in by yourself, and you don't need to do all those confirmations or affirmations in the mirror. Too complicated. This is the most easiest way, and you can do it when you walk to the toilet. You can do it, hey, put down your phone for 5 minutes. Just be grateful that you actually do have a phone, that you do have unlimited internet, or that you do have the funds to pay for the internet. For a lot of, you know, when I lost everything, I had to go sit in lobbies and pretend that I'm a visitor of the hotel, and then kicked out. But after one point, people knew that I just lost everything, and they let me sit, for which I'm very grateful for that, by the way. Again, grateful. So even at those moments when I lost everything, and also sitting in the middle of the night on a bench, and it would start windy and a little bit rain, walking around with a big suitcase. At that time I had a big suitcase, and I was still grateful for the fact that my elbows were working, because I went to the calisthenics spot. It was actually in Bujiba, it's in Malta. So I went in the middle of the night over there to stay warm, doing the dips, and I'm thankful for my elbows. And like this, I forgot about how hungry I actually was, how cold I actually was. And I'm just mentioning this situation just to tell you there are situations that I really depended on this. So, and it actually made my mental state very good, my physical state good. I went through the night. Of course I looked like shit, but hey, we're not here on this planet for a beauty contest. At least not me. So be grateful, you know, walk around, listen to the birds. And do you hear the birds complaining about anything? No. No, but Alan, they cannot speak. True. But nature made them like this. Trees, do they stop growing? Yes, unless when people cut them down, they stop growing. That's for sure. But do they have a choice? No. People have a choice. You know, cry, don't cry, be grateful, not grateful. Be grateful and you will start feeling better, especially after 7 days. People think now, yeah, Dylan, it's better to swallow a pill and everything is relaxed, or start acting stoic. You know, that's also good, Dylan, because I pretend that I don't care anymore. Yes, you do, and this is the thing. People who say that they don't care, they do care. They do care. The harder people say, and if you're watching this, a very good, trusted bond of mine. He also says many times, because very good person, good heart, and many times he gets also disappointed. And I always say it's a numbers game, but the thing is, he also says, I don't care. I said, you do care. That's why you say that you don't care. See, and I say those things straightforward, and he said, yeah, darling, you're right. I do care. I said, yeah, you do, because you're a good person. That's why you care. If you don't care about the world around you, and that you don't feel a little bit quote-unquote hurt because you put in the effort, then it's actually somehow your own mistake a little bit, because you expect it. You expect it. Don't expect. Stop expecting things in return. Never do things like for somebody else and then expect something. I already stopped expecting a long time ago, or a long time ago, since a few years. And that is also something that you need to learn. That is also not over time that people say, yeah, do this exercise. No, you need to fail a lot. Get disappointed a lot. Until you grow this elephant skin. It's true. Nothing comes from looking in the mirror and say how beautiful you are, and eating snacks in the meantime and see your beer belly grow, and then look in the mirror like, my beer belly goes away. My beer belly goes away. And you say it every day. I'm very confident about myself. No, you're not. Otherwise you don't have to say it. And of course, when you speak it, and you speak from the heart, but inside you know, if you don't have the disciplines, you don't believe what you're saying. And when you don't believe what you're saying, you don't speak from the heart, and then it doesn't vibrate into your own subconscious. It's nestled in your subconscious, like the thing with the gratitude. Do it for the next 7 days. Throw away your depression pills, and if you're okay, we're not getting into this topic, but okay, if you still feel miserable, then start adding a little bit of level. Take time. You know, nothing happens overnight, and especially everything what happens overnight, and that's why probably those pills exist, and those happy pills, let's call them like this. It's instant, but did you know it's just like a cover, like, you know, you put a mask on it, a cape, and it fights crime. You know, this depression thing, or anxious thing. All of a sudden you're not anxious anymore, but you just mask it, put a cape on it, and it flies away. But it also comes 10 times harder back, because you simply don't take care of the problem. And that's the same with real life problems. If you don't work on it, on the solution, and or simply totally escape it without actually working on the back end, you know, once or multiple times I just had to pull myself back, and then in the meantime I just improve certain processes, networks, just to kill the problem. But that's a whole different kind of thinking. I started this clip about being grateful. It's just a little tiny step with quick wins. And I do believe if you do this for 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute, you're the most impatient piece of muffin, you know, just do 1 minute. Just say 1 minute. You can say a lot of things in 1 minute. I'm very grateful that I'm not hungry, I'm not starving. I'm very grateful for the fact that I have a roof above my head this evening. You know, for some people that is also way too, you know, they forget about those things. And the soft pillow. Maybe you don't have a pillow. Take away your pillow. Take away your mattress. Eh? Take away your toilet. Let me tell you this story when it's about a toilet. I lived for a few weeks without a toilet. I had to survive in a garage. Great time. Because in COVID, I lost my bank card, couldn't fly, and the landlord put me on the street in COVID. Yeah, in COVID time, she put me on the street because I couldn't pay. I really couldn't pay. Anyway, that's another story. And if I don't forget, I put a little bit one picture over here. That also, I lived in a garage over there. Of course, no toilet on a moisty couch. Yeah, better than nothing at one point. But you know, what else? Oh yeah, because I had to go back to Bulgaria to arrange the banking thing. Yeah, when I think about it. So I was under in a garage, and the neighbors, yeah, of course, you know, I put on a whiteboard, I wrote, don't be scared, you know, I'm waiting for my time to go back to Bulgaria. I had to wait till COVID ended. And you know what? After that, disaster stroke for me. And in the end, I could leave after 3 years. Think about persistence and endurance. Resilient. I can call myself very resilient. And this is not to brag. And that's why I'm probably also constantly the older I get, the more in touch I'm with reality. And for a lot of people that's intimidating, especially the softy ones. You know, in the previous one of the previous clips I talked about, you know, how that the majority of great people that I'm having, you know, you don't own anybody, but then that I'm can hang around with and trust pretty much blindly, they all lost something. And that's one of the parents, and that makes people more resilient, also more open-minded, because this is also what I noticed. When you lost something, like a person that you loved, let's say like this, you also don't look really at the material, you become less materialistic. And especially when you actually lost everything, like in my case, I lost 3 times everything. Material, people, blah blah blah. And in the end, by the way, you don't, with people, I say you never own anybody. And this is another thing, it just filtered out the garbage for me. You know, they just went away because, hey, you're not a source of value anymore. And I never complained about anything. So in my case, I don't value actually material stuff. I only really well value genuine people, authentic people, and you know, the more colorful background, the more I actually like it, and the more they actually also do like me. And it's true, but it's of course my people that are off. Again, you know, nobody, you don't own anybody, but that's my kind of people. And other people who run around in suits, all kind of fluffy things, they just hang around with them. But this is another thing. The more you build character, the more unique you become. If I walk around with people, and the people who walk around with me, and also when they would walk around with other people, they not all look the same, which means they're unique characters, they build character. Open your eyes and look at other people who walk around in groups. All people, groups of, and they look all the same, they're not so strong individual as an individual, because they have to, this backup, this confirmation, this, you know, they have to, because otherwise they lose identity, which they haven't found yet. And there is no disrespect, but if you're a person like me looking for more high quality people that actually fit my obsession, my insanity, my non-stop going forward, yeah, you need to look at those things. So let's have this clip started with gratitude. Be grateful will reduce your anxiety. Try it. If you not even want to try it, you also don't want to solve it. And if you only want to swallow pills, also good for you. But you know, you just put a cape on it and a mask, and it flies away, but it comes back. And the second thing, look at people who walk in groups. Do they have the same body figure? You know, do they have all beards in the same way, fluffy, or they all have dry hair? You look at it, and it's a beautiful thing to see. People attract each other, and when the longer they hang around with each other, they also start looking more like each other. You know, some of those real old couples, the guy start looking more like a woman, and the woman starts more looking like a guy. You know, it's a beautiful thing. They love each other, blah blah blah. Anyway, besides that, look at those. Who is an individual who built his character or her character? The same is with women. And let's talk one other thing. What a thought that I want to share. You know, in the younger days, you always had this one girl, right? And then it was the label. Yeah, she's one of the guys. No, man, she's just. And then this is what I now realized. Not now, but it's just that is simply nature. She's just selecting. Natural selection. Yes? But in the normal people world, you would say, yeah, she's one of the guys. You know, she can hang around. No, man, she's just selecting. Even if she wouldn't recognize it herself, but she is. She's selecting for her mating partner. Probably not even intentionally looking for the one that she's gonna love. No, she's looking for a suitable mating partner. Mating. You understand what I mean? To not get knocked up. Oh, that sounds rude. Reality, people. Anyway, stop talking. We're gonna make a move. I'm gonna train multiple times. I did the dips and the knee raises, as you can see in the previous clip. I tried to record with the GoPro. I don't know how it looks like at the moment, so ciao for now. I had a little bit a situation that I solved. Felt a little bit out of balance, so I'm doing now a walk over here quickly because I'm gonna meet two people who are also 100% behind my purpose also for Bulgaria and Bulgaria focus. We're gonna help a lot of normal business people who are open to growth and automate things and generate more income using the tools, resources that they already have, but they simply don't utilize it in the most optimal way, or that, you know, the strategies that they also would normally wouldn't have access to, because, you know, those idiots, and I call them idiots, those marketing companies, they charge upfront fees, you know, which are totally ridiculous. I understand you need to pay your employees who play with their phones, and you need to drive your lease car. I do understand, but I'm not like this. We just getting paid when we perform, and setting up strategies. You should be so skilled that it doesn't require you a lot of time, and if you have to invest 2-3 hours maybe to set up something that generates on the short term and on the long term more revenue, even profits, You know the difference, right? Because a lot of people have so many assets that they simply leave unmonetized, which is, let's say you make 1,000 leva, and we're talking Bulgarian currencies, you make 1,000 leva a day. Most people, they miss so much money. And even if you would increase with 10% per day, it's in the end of the week 70. See, when you start thinking like this in percentages, and most marketing companies also don't want to work or even consider to help the smaller businesses. And me, yes, I want to, because I do have the energy, I have the intention, and I have the knowledge to do it in very small amounts of time. But the people need to be open-minded, and of course, and there's no offense, even the bigger companies, they're not open to start thinking, even considering to nurture leads. Most people don't even know what it means, and even if they heard about it, they also don't know how to do it, because it all comes down to communication, interacting with people, providing value. I mentioned it yesterday also. One or two guys that I spoke with a couple of years ago, they start building an email list, but they still use it as a brochure. So that's very old school thinking. I do understand this, but I'm over here in Bulgaria. Let's do something. And not only this, I also mentioned the Google Maps thing. I put on businesses for free, and they get a lot of views. And even then, some people don't see the value of getting more eyeballs on their business. Which I don't understand. If somebody comes to me, you want more eyeballs, free, and it's really for free. I'm not some kind of hidden secrecy, that I afterwards ask for money. No. If you see the result, you automatically want more. Is that intentionally? No. If you don't want to, good for you. None of my business. I'm just helping out. I build those resources so I can utilize them by just helping people for free. Because I have way much more to offer. And that's also something, if you have one single tiny offer, of course you need to charge money for that, because otherwise you don't make any money. But I have projects running, I have, by the way, every day I'm still busy, every single day, the past 15 years, by the way, 16 years. If not since I was 11, optimizing stuff. But now after my 40, I'm way much more focused on structured optimization, not willy-nilly go totally 100% bananas into into relationships, blah blah blah. So people also wonder why I don't have children or a wife, the traditional stuff at 46. Well, because I was pretty wild, and I'm not, I cannot deny this. And do I have to admit it like this publicly on YouTube? No, I don't have to, but like all my vlogs, all my videos are pure me, nothing else. But now I'm way much more calm. And by the way, the reason that I walk now like this, because I don't want to breathe so heavily when I speak. So, what else? Why did I start this thing? Well, you have to clean my head to stay under control of my thinking, my actions, and then we go to the Rakovsky Stadium to train a little bit, because over here I actually want to train, but yeah, it's very busy because now everybody has a day off, it seems to be. And I also mentioned this before, if everybody would take action, then the parks would be constantly full. Would be also, I do think, would be also good for the economy for Bulgaria. So let's see, Patriots, let's see what you want to do for the country. Anyway, ciao for now. Turn off the camera. There's a woman in the middle of nowhere, as you can see maybe still. And where was I? Yeah, Bulgaria focus. Maybe I have to start doing some giveaways, because some things that you give away for free, people also don't see really the value. And especially when you're dealing with people who don't understand, let's say, even marketing their business, eyeballs on their business, you know. Yeah, figure this out. It's an interesting country over here. Don't underestimate it. Pretty much very traditional thinking, common sense. That's what I love about this country, common sense, you know. And I think I can say this also. A lot of countries are God-fearing. Over here they pretty much God-loving. That is my personal opinion that I formed over the years, and I actually said it multiple times already to people also who come to visit me, and also people in the Airbnb that I'm staying. So, oh, okay, good. Oh, I'm also getting hungry, and when it's about hungry, I tell my body when to put food in it. My body is not gonna tell me what I'm gonna do. My mind is in control. And another thing, when it's about being in control, I did smoke the last week pretty much every day cigarettes. So I decided yesterday, from today, stop it. There's no benefit. Sometimes it's nice with a beer, but you know, I don't have limits. And I don't leave it with 1 or 2 cigarettes. Then you buy a packet. But no heavy stuff, no heavy smoking. But I noticed it on my runs. I can feel it on my lungs, and I don't like that. So there is negative benefits for my personal health, endurance, and yeah, that pretty much goes hand in hand. But you know, when it's about endurance, then I fail myself a little bit, which means it also plays mentally with me. I don't like that. So it's mentally and physically. And like this, I rational pretty much everything. What are the pros, the cons? And when there are a lot of cons, is it only physically or only mentally or both? Well, if it's both, get rid of it. So that's what my mind tells me. And I also feel it deep in my heart that I want it. Stop it. It's dumb. Sometimes it's nice, but don't make it a daily habit. The last 7 days, I made it a daily habit, and I don't want to get dependent or something. And when it's about the beer, you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, why do you like beer? Well, because you see me drinking in public, and you don't see a lot of people after their work sitting on the couch in front of the television drinking beer. I drink beer and speak with people in the wild, in the open, always. You know, so I reached the highway now because I'm opening my lungs also in the meantime to do tomorrow a run again, to get extra capacity in my lungs again, and to punish me for the smoking the past 7 days. So I think I said enough for now. We're going down. We're going to the Rakowski Stadium. Then meet some people in South Park, and then I'm gonna take a beer break, because then I'm already busy since, I think today, I'm not gonna lie, 5:30, so it was a little bit later. But I also mentioned in the previous vlogs that I started my day, I think 3 times at 3:15, still going to bed around 12, which is that bit me a little bit in the ass. The days, the aftermath, you know, I'm very conscious about everything. Why do I feel more anxious? Why do sometimes even when I go all overboard, which I do in general, you know, when I go all overboard, even my teeth get very sensitive. Yeah, so you can understand how much I go overboard with stuff. If your teeth and you get anxious, when I go totally focused in on stuff, sometimes the only way that I know that I'm tired, that's when I look in the mirror. Then this eye get all goofy, you know, it gets all totally when I look at pictures and I think, Mamma mia. okay, it's time to do maybe a nappy, you know. So, and also when I feel more anxious, you know, I also still a human being. Some people say, yeah, doll, everything seems to go so smooth. Yeah, I also sometimes anxious, and that is only because I then didn't do my I need around personally around 5 or 6 hours max. If I do more, I'm also not feeling good. So that's really my sweet spot. And the people who watch my vlogs, they can see I am non-stop on the, I don't want to say on the run, but on the walk would it be better. So I'm on the walk, travel around Sofia. I can provide a lot of knowledge to people, and that's also something about Sofia. And again, follow me on Google Maps. I got over 3 million views over there, 3.1 at the moment. We're going the right way and want to reach the 5 million, like I said in the previous clip, one of the previous clips. Okay, now I'm gonna shut up. We're gonna relax a little bit, drink a lot of water. We did a little bit air in the lungs, refreshing my brain, and then we go to train a little bit in Rakoski. Then what is the name? Sofia, no, South Park, probably also freakishly busy, but yeah, doesn't matter. And that's the part of the deal. Holidays, people. And I said this also once when it's about holidays, in case, hey, why don't we see you next to the pool? Why don't we see this and this? Or, you know, I could. But that's only for your visual part. And do you get really well value from that? I can share things from the time in Malta. Very beautiful views. Maybe I should make a whole video that summarized my time in Malta. Anyway, ciao for now. Something else, I also share about that I'm now in the upscaling phase of everything that I'm doing, and from today I'm gonna schedule all the reels and the shorts on Instagram. Exciting, very exciting stuff. At one point you will see my face everywhere. Sick of me. On all kind of hate mail. Well, let's see. There's only one way to find out. And of course, you know, there are people. By the way, when it's about negative comments, it's very, very few. For the amount of content that I spread out so far, I think the last year only 5. This year only 2. One, I can call him an idiot because I always treat him with respect. With some kind of idiot from Malta, very sneering comments. I even talk normal always with the guy. I always respect it, but you know, they say, oh, why don't you have a normal job? I responded in the DM, but of course, you know, people do things when they're drunk, and I don't know, I think it's, in his case, it's jealousy, because he is stuck over there. And then, oh yeah, he made one comment. See, I do the boxing just to shape up. I'm not that aggressive anymore. You know, that I went or go for an hour on the heavy bag and then later on do things that you shouldn't do. Anyway, besides that, but he also made a comment because I did about a liver shot. But the thing is, what I'm always focusing on, and I'm, you know, that I put my feet solid on the ground, that I have, I knocked out a good amount of people, you know. But and this is not to brag, also not to entice people to start knocking people out, not at all, because I was totally in a different state of mind and another good one. And yeah, anyway, so this guy also says, yeah, but in real fights, and you have to understand, this guy is skinny as I don't know what. He's an ex-heavy drug addict. You can see it if I would pop up a picture over here, which I don't. I also don't mention his name, but if you would see it, you can see it. A heavy ex-drug addict, and he used the heavy part, the heavy one, the thing that you put in your veins, or he smoked crack or whatever, crackle. You know, those people always have very, very hidden and dark agendas. I know, met a lot of them. And I haven't met anyone, especially when they used before heroin or they on heroin. It's even worse when they're on heroin, because then they're simply slaves, zombies, and they can say a lot of they're also very good at manipulation. They do pretty much everything right when it's about body language, just to get what they want. So hyper focused are they to get what they want. Think about this. And I am obsessed with what I'm doing. I'm really heavily obsessed with what I'm doing. And those people are so obsessed with getting the next shot or whatever. And even if they're ex-addicts, they always have this hunger for something. This hunger, manipulation, hidden agendas. I'm not saying that everybody's like this, but let's say 99.99% of the people that I know that are previous heroin addicts, they always have hidden agendas, and especially in the night, they're sending me very weird stuff. Incredibly weird stuff. Anyway, so for now. Yeah? Now that I walk in the forest and people have days off, what are people doing in the forest? Playing with their phones. Yeah, you know, that makes me somehow somewhat sad, because, you know, they're already escaping their normal job by going into holidays or taking time off, and then when you're in your time off, you still do the same dumbass scrolling, you know, consuming. And you know, if you would gather knowledge, you know, you do research. Hey, and by the way, when it's about doing research, you know, if you got a huge Google Drive amount of stuff, I got over 1.6 terabyte of information and collected PDFs and everything. The Gemini Advanced is insane. I could build a whole course using only Gemini Advanced based upon my Google Drive. But I'm just sharing. And another one, Notebook LM. Insane. You drop, yeah, you can have whole chats over, for example, you drop all the PDFs and website links in one notebook. You create a notebook, just Google it, Notebook LM. But and then you just do a chat about the content that you drop in. Yeah, you know, like this, you can consume very quickly the Easter eggs, the golden nuggets from courses and or books, you know. But when it's about books, I do believe it's better to get the whole context of it, you know, also build that discipline that you can actually be alone and actually can focus on one single thing, and it does the reading part. But you know, when it's about courses, like I said, I went over 1 terabyte of courses, all kind of, most of the courses are just fillers. Only a few golden nuggets, and like this you can filter them out pretty quickly. Anyway, don't play so much with your phone, you know, especially not in your fucking holiday. Let's call it a holiday. I think it's now an extra day off, and then people go into the forest to play with the phone. Yeah, they do also the same in restaurants. Pay a little bit attention to each other. That's what that would be my end of this clip message, you know. Engage truly with other people, or simply just don't hang around with those people, because they're not important to you anyways, if you're very honest. You know, if I would sit with my trusted people, also when I build new relationships, I always apologize if I have to pick up a phone and or something else. I'm not gonna play around with the phone and then, you know, mindless scrolling, giggle a little bit about a rabbit, I don't know what, kittens. Anyway, ciao for now. Just a little tiny insight in my work office over here, my workspace. I just decided to sit over here before I go to the Rakowski Stadium. I'm gonna schedule now, I think, around 15 reels, shorts up front, TikToks, and I'm just showing you this so you can see that it is possible. I work from everywhere, you know. External battery, I put it on a stative like this, so I also don't, before I even used a Bluetooth keyboard, which I'm also doing not anymore. I'm using my voice to type actually on my VPS. I'm connecting now to the VPS, so when I get up, then still things are exporting, I don't know what, all kind of processes are running, also Scrapebox. But we're not getting into this, I'm just showing you this. This is possible for everybody. And yes, it is. But you know, there's one requirement, somehow, somewhat, that you're really interested in. Yeah, it's my stuff is very based upon communication. Yeah, but also when you, for example, a lot of people ask me about e-commerce. You know, you still need to communicate with your audience. Otherwise, hey, you need to be interested in people. You don't need to speak properly and or whatever, but you need to be interested in people because you need to do your research on the demographics. You need to do, yeah, you need to see what they're interested in, because no matter what, you know, I got dog groups, you know, and I'm presenting this project, by the way, later today to somebody. Anyway, this is my office for now. I need to upload. I'm gonna sit over here for 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour, just working, and then move. And then while I'm actually traveling in the tram, I still do my stuff. But I want to sit down with the mouse, and I'm using the mouse, that's for sure. But I got rid of my keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard, I think a few months ago, 3 months ago. So yeah, like as you can see, hyper mobile. Anyway, today's vlog with two things that I just experienced also now. Just a sec. And like everything in my vlogs, everything is always from experience, never from books rattle up. Like and let's say it also like this. Check them out. Just a sec. The thing is, so I went actually to one neighborhood, and one guy, he was also training in one place, and the thing is, I know he's not watching it, but anyway, I'd always try to keep everybody, you know, I respect everybody, but the thing is, I'm gonna share this. So for example, the first person constantly talking about his ex, and he knows that I said, because I said it straightforward, because I said the past 20 minutes you talk about your ex, that is all fun, but your heart is still full with her. Where the heart is full from, the mouth is running over. I don't know how to say it in fucking English, but the thing is, that's one person, and that is another thing to put attention to, right? So when it's about addictions and or, you know, and be in control of your own life, if you're still thinking about your exes, and let me tell you something about this. Do I think about my exes? Yes, I do, but not in a way, I would never speak about them the way they do. The thing is, I always think how I can optimize the next relationship, what went wrong, and I got quite a few. The thing is, it's not to brag, but it's never about that I ever want to go back. I would also never go back to one, because we all know, am I in a bad relationship with anybody of them? No, but some I would not even speak to, not because I hate them or whatever. No, there are simply things didn't synchronize at one point. But this person, for 20 minutes, I said, man. But let's also put it in perspective. Kijk. Daar is terug. Hij zei de. Nee, Hollandia, Netherlands. Oh, it was actually an opportunity to go over there, but you know, this is the guy who was sitting in the garbage the whole day. And you know what? People who do things on consistent base, I always respect them, you know. Maybe I'll go over there tomorrow. Now he was shouting to me. Oh, yeah. But anyway, let's finish this story. So this guy constantly talk about his ex. All good, but listen to this. If a woman or your ex-boyfriend determines the way you speak, you got a fucking problem. There's obviously a lack of other interaction, and or you got still ties with them, which I also understand because I know from business partners they still have ties because they knocked them up, and I understand that. But they, even the people who knocked the women up, they never talk about them, at least not to me. But this person kept on talking, and I said, good. See, it's always nice to talk about some sort of. See, I'm interested in when people talk about the psychology of things. So, when they say, yeah, she did this and blah blah blah, but I never heard a solution. So, I actually said at one point, because when he woke up at 10 o'clock or whatever, and it actually fits with the way he presents himself. With all the respect, hey, if you're watching this, is not a. I'm just trying to share stuff with the world. So he also looks a little bit sleepy all the time. That's all good, but the world doesn't care how sleepy you are. The world doesn't care how much your heart got broken. Nobody gives a shit. Get over it. And the thing is, when I have to listen for a longer amount of time than I get a little bit sick of it. Just look for a solution, get over it, be a man. And the second person, and I said this one before, people do challenge me a little bit when it's about the Bulgarian language. But this one, he only drank 2 beers, half a liter, and he got into the challenging thing. And the thing is, some people just like to challenge you to do better. I do understand this, but there are also people who like to challenge you to see you fail. And especially when I didn't, at one point I also didn't want to listen anymore, because I said, I don't understand you. And then had a real person came out. He said, yeah, you don't understand anything. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good for you. But I know, and that's again going back to people who are addicted to something. Somebody who loses all his teeth, and he looked pretty representable. He worked a lot, but I know from a lot of people, even if they work a lot, they also use drugs. And drug people, they want to drag you down. Never ever forget that. They are addicted. They want to drag you down to their level because they're slaves. Everybody who's a fucking slave, they want to drag you down to. I'm looking for my home key, by the way. But that's how I want to end it. So there were 2 red flags, and I want to stay a little bit longer over there, but there was one guy constantly challenging and constantly only taking 2 beers, but when people start touching their noses and and combine it with the whole thing, overall nice approaches. But also, let's say it like this: people approach you very nice, the people who approach you very nice and then actually speak in a different way, try to challenge you in a way that you think makes you uncomfortable. See, when you make other people, Jesus Christ, I'm looking for my key. So when you make other people uncomfortable, I don't believe that is the way to go. Maybe I'm just an idiot, maybe, but I don't believe that whatever you do, don't make people uncomfortable. And if you don't see when you make other people uncomfortable, I can say so many stories about this, tell you so many stories. And but these 2 happened today, and they're all around my age. One is 47 and one is actually 48. And that's what I mean. Build that character, people, especially when you're fucking young and you try to avoid any kind of hardships. See, I understand not everybody comes what I did. I understand that not everybody has the same character, but the thing is, Godverdomme, wait a minute. Now I'm getting a little bit frustrated. Fucking. Anyway, also when I talk about this, when you're young, don't avoid things. Don't get emotional about it. In the first, let's say, first 30 years, get emotional about it. Don't be afraid, and learn from it. Because what I'm saying now, these people are 47, one was 48. They didn't solve anything mentally. And it reflects on the way of living. They constantly talk about how bad society is. They talk about they have to work a lot. Never underestimate what you speak is what you get. And the way now that I'm speaking about this is just to give you, the viewer, a little bit of insight. Probably an insight you not very aware of, and maybe if you would be aware of, you probably not hanging around with a lot of people who are aware of those things. And if you sometimes get things confirmed, for a couple of days I got one thing confirmed. It was actually a very comfortable, a comforting thing. He said also, and if you're watching this, you know, I'm always grateful for people who actually give very positive feedback, but also that there's some sort of hope. People always need some sort of hope. And am I one of those people? I would like to hear some once in a while that people confirm my assumptions. There are not a lot of people that I can talk to about the things that I want, the things that I'm aiming for. You know, it's true. Like I said, if I would go off this fucking planet, who gives a shit? Who really doesn't? Nobody gives a shit. Am I doing the videos just to gain a lot of followers and would cry about it? No. That's not the thing. This is the thing. Before I go off this planet, I want to share that it's possible, how to do it. Live just using your phone, and not only that, clean up your circle so you don't have all the heartaches, all the fucking headaches. When you start a business, just roll up. And even if, you know, let's say it like this, some people say, hey Dylan, I'm 30, I'm thinking about this business, that business. Yeah, keep on thinking. Just keep on fucking thinking. The whole cemetery is full with people who were thinking. Just yeah. Maybe it doesn't sound like the most positive ending, but this is real. My vlogs are real. It's based upon real things, and also my reaction is maybe a little bit emotional. I don't think it's very emotional. I just let other people learn from this, because two people in a row, bum bum bum, talk about. I said also your heart is running over from your mouth, and that's true. Constantly talk about his fucking ex. Who gives a shit? You get manipulated. It was 10 years fucking ago. Zdrasty. And that's the thing. His heart is still running over from his fucking ex. And it's a numbers game, people. It's a fucking numbers game. Of course, heartbreak is a little bit a thing, but, you know, move on. Go full throttle in it. Don't try to be stoic. Just train yourself to fucking that. This same person also said once, you know, we look pretty alike. Oh, mamma mia. If you would really know, we don't look alike anything. And this is not to be cocky, not at all. The people who follow my vlogs, they understand. I speak from the heart. I went through fucking hell back and forward, over and over. But I want to share, to live a life of freedom. But I also know the percentage of people who want to do different, make a difference. That's also something. Think about that. Yeah. End of the story for today. Ciao for now.